I want to explain a little bit of what's going on in the triple Qs right now. So I have the hourly time frame pulled up here, and being that I'm a day trader, being that I'm a scalper, being that I'm a short-term swing trader, meaning that if I buy a position today, I'm looking to sell it overnight, typically if the move is going into my favor. But with that being said, I've got 20 days worth of data pulled up here in front of me according to the 1 hour time frame. Now I know the candles and everything, because I have all these indicators and moving averages on my screen, is going to look a little bit wacky, but that's not really what we need to pay attention to. What we need to pay attention to is, let me take this line off here. What we need to pay attention to here is this 405.71. This is the top of the range. Okay. And then this 377.47 going back a couple of weeks now here to those lows, where we're kind of getting back down here into those lows again. 377.47. And then today we kind of put in lows here of 378-ish. So this is the bottom of the range. This is a range. This is range bound trading. If you don't know what range bound trading is, go ahead and look at the IWM, pull up the daily chart on the small caps in the Russell 2000, and look at what the IWM did for a year now, because we're getting into January. So look at what the IWM has been doing for a year. They've been consistently trading in a big, 30, 40 point range, 30 or whatever it is. I think it's closer to the 30-point range. On the triple Qs, what we're looking at here, 377 all the way up to 405. So what we're looking at here is a 30-point range on the triple Qs. So how do you play ranges? Okay, typically in a healthy market that's trending, if this market is healthy, trending to the downside, and we're in bear country here, as we get down to these bottoms here, yes, we might get a little bit of a bounce, but then we get, so it should look like this. Okay, if the market is normal and healthy, this is trending down. You would expect a bounce in this area, but you would expect some sort of rejection around here to previous resistance, right? So as you get up into this area, you would expect more follow through to the downside to go ahead and put in these new lows. And then you would expect to chop around sideways, come back up to the previous level, chop around sideways before making the next low. That's a normal market. To the top side, this 405.71, we know that we have all-time highs at around 408 where we kind of tagged. As we come up into this top of the range in a normal market, you would expect some sort of breakout and then come back down to a previous area of resistance, trade around sideways, and then make a new high. And when we make that new high, we would come down to the previous peak, chop around sideways before making a new high. Now that's a normal market. So what's going on now? There's a lot of fear in the market. There's a lot of things that don't look good with inflation, interest rates, the coronavirus variant. There's a lot of things, a lot of money rotation going back into value, getting out of growth stocks and going into the, the old boring value plays. With that being said, if you do trade any stocks in the triple Qs, you do trade these mega cap stocks. How we're looking at to trade these stocks now, and even the ETFs, is when we get down to the bottom of the range, typically this is, instead of this being looking for confirmation to go south, what we need to be doing is playing the bounce back up to the top of the range. So how you play the bounce is, if 377 is the bottom and 405 is the top, then we would have to look at 394, 395 as the mid. So you would play the bottom into the mid, and this is where you would take your profits. Okay. This is where you're taking profits. You kind of sit out of this part of the market, right? And then as we get into this top zone here, okay, as we get into this top zone here, this is where you're going to want to be shorting the market back down to midway, okay, to this area here. And this is where you're going to want to be taking profits. So you're going to want to be shorting that 400, 405 area back down into that 394, 395 area. And then you want to kind of let the market digest and chill out, come back to the bottom of the range here. And then this area here is where you're going to want to start loading up again to go back north. Now, we can completely stay in this range for months. Okay, the market can essentially stay like this and not really go anywhere for months until we get a break over 405 and then successfully backtest that and move higher. This market is going to go sideways until we get a real flush through 377 with the successful bounce and rejection with further flush, we are going to go sideways, meaning that we are going to stay in this range. So if you're a day trader, if you're a scalper, if you're a short-term swing trader, you need to be playing the ranges accordingly. Being that we are down in this zone here, okay, now what we're going to start doing is let's start looking for stocks to go long into next week. And that bounce that we're going to take into next week is going to be into this 390, 394 area. And we're going to put a cap there and start taking our profits and start looking for more consolidation around that 394 area. And if it does decide to go up a little bit more, then that's when we start thinking about putting on short positions back down to the downside. So that's what I'm looking at here, kind of looking at a bounce going into next week. We did have 3-4 days consecutive days of selling. With that being said, I think we should get a pretty nice bounce going into next week. Does that mean that I think that the stocks are going all the way back here to all-time highs and higher? No. But with that being said, you never know what could happen in the market. Everything can change at the drop of a hat. But with that being said, I hope this kind of helps you understand what a range bound is, or what a range is and what range bound trading means. So we can kind of take advantage of that going into next week. I hope that helps, and I will see you guys all in the Discord. If you guys are not a member of my Discord, that link is down in the description box below. Feel free to join the Discord, and I will see you guys all in there later.